Today we're going to be covering the investments page of TradeTally. So to do that, we're going to go over to this analysis tab, click on investments here, and we're going to cover all these tabs here. So there are a couple of different things that you can do under the investments tool. And the first one is going to be the stock screener. Now this is just a tool that you can use to see an overview of the stock. Starting out, we'll see the 8 pillars of analysis here. So you'll see things like the 5-year PE ratio, 5-year ROIC, etc. And if you scroll down, you'll see additional key metrics for this stock. So you can see market cap, revenue, net income, and whatever else you need to make a purchase decision on this stock. And then if you scroll down even further, you can see here the balance sheet, the income statement, the cash flow statement, as well as the 10K and 10Q filings. And if you click those, they'll open the external filings, as you can see here. So we'll scroll back up to the stock valuation calculator, which is also very useful. So the stock valuation calculator does a discounted cash flow formula, and it will allow you to determine what the estimated fair value of a stock is. So let me fill this in and I'll be right back. All right, so you can see here, based on these assumptions that I put in here, obviously you can put in your own assumptions. This is telling us that Apple is quite a bit overpriced. So you could change these how you want, change your desired annual return, and these values will change. But it's just a good way to figure out if a stock is being overvalued or undervalued. And if we click here on the holdings, this is another really important and useful tool to track all of your investments. And this would be more geared toward long-term investments or retirement accounts or things like that. And the reason this is so useful is because you can obviously import your investment accounts from different platforms. If you maybe had some in Schwab, or you had some in Fidelity, or even Chase, you can import those all in here, and then you can see them all in one view. So you can see here, the quick overview is the portfolio value, the total return since the beginning date of this portfolio, and it also tracks dividends that you might have accrued throughout the lifetime of these accounts. And you can see a nice chart based on, it'll show you relative performance to whatever index that you want based on the starting time that you have here. So in this case, it's 6 months, and you can see, you know, it was underperforming and then overperforming and then underperforming the SPY. And you can even change this to your preferred index if you would like. So you can see here the comparison to VOO. And then it'll show you your overall return percentage and different metrics that might be useful to you. And then down here all the way at the bottom, you can see the actual holdings that make up whatever portfolio it is that I'm viewing. So you can see here the stock symbol, the valuation of the total holdings that I have for that stock, the percentage of my portfolio that that stock is taking up, and then I can even set a target percentage here because maybe I want to be diversified in a very specific way, and when stocks go up in value or decline in value, these target percentages will change. And this quick little table will show you a nice tool or a nice estimation here of how many shares you would need to remove or add to this position to reach your target percentage based on where it is now. And it'll also tell you the proceeds that you would get or the cost that it would take you to get those shares. And then you can see here that if I restructured, I would have exactly the right amount of funds based on what I'm selling and what I would need to buy. Actually, it would cost me about 1 cent if I wanted to reorganize this according to my target percentages. And then you can see over here on the right side the alerts that I might have. So I could set up drift or drawdown alerts for this portfolio, and it'll just tell me if I'm drifting away from my target percentages like we talked about earlier, or if it's in a significant drawdown and I might want to reduce some of my position sizes. And then the account comparison, I can choose the account that I want to view here, and then if I click 2 at a time, it will give me the comparison between them and the return differences. So if I have an account overperforming, maybe over the span of 5 years or something, that would be a nice view so that I could make a decision on what I wanted to decrease in that portfolio or not. And I can click here this compare in full button, and it'll give me the full charts side by side, which is very useful. Okay, so we'll go back to the investments page, and then this stock scanner page is actually the 8 pillars, but it is just comparing off of the Russell 2000, and it's a nice way to see a quick overview of stocks that might meet all 8 pillars of selection. And if I'm trying to find a nice value play, then this is a really easy and quick way to do it. So we'll go back here, and then income would just be from the account and cash flow. Nothing set up here, but this would track things that are linked via Plaid instead of maybe the CSV importer. So anyway, hope you give it a try. This is available at TradeTally.io, and you can also self-host. If you're inclined to do that, you will need to provide an API for some of this information, such as FinHub or FMP. Thank you so much for watching.